Good morning, students. Welcome to online learning class. Myself, Kanchan, your social studies teacher. Today, we are going to learn our new lesson 4.2 for a longer and healthier life. The lesson for a longer and healthier life is related to health. Now, let's learn about health. The WHO defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Health is a resource for everyday life. Let's start our lesson. Man is the only animal on this earth who cares about his health and wants to remain healthy. He wants to save himself from the pain of disease. He wants to know how a disease is caused and how it can be cured. For this purpose, he conducted many experiments and discovered the cause and cure of diseases. He developed many useful medicines and medical instruments. All these things have helped him to live a longer and healthier life. See, children, our lives depend on a healthy planet. Every day we depend on biodiversity to keep us alive and healthy. The air we breathe, the water we drink, and the foods we eat, and the medications we take are all byproducts of a healthy planet. But our world and the diversity of life it supports is under threat. Deforestation, pollution, greenhouse gas emission, draining of wetlands, climate change, globalization, and other factors of modern life are wiping out species and damaging ecosystems. When we damage the earth, we damage our own health. Man is the only animal on this earth who cares about his health for a longer and healthier life. To protect from disease, man have developed many useful medicines and medical instruments which help him to live a longer and healthier life. Let's learn about some medical instrument. The thermometer. A thermometer is an instrument that measures temperature. It is usually a glass tube marked with a scale. Inside it, there is a thinner glass tube. At the end of the inner tube, there is a bulb containing mercury. Thermometers are of different kinds. Medical thermometers are used by doctors. They are called clinical thermometers. They are marked from 95 degree Fahrenheit to 109 degree Fahrenheit. They are used to measure a person's body temperature. The normal body temperature is 98.4 degree Fahrenheit. The clinical thermometer is put into the mouth of the patient or under the armpit. The mercury in the bulb of the thermometer expands due to the heat of the body. It flows through the narrow neck of the tube. When the mercury cools, it cannot flow back unless given a sharp jerk. The scale marked on the thermometers shows the degrees of the patient's temperature. We now have digital thermometers, they are easy to read. See, children, a thermometer is an instrument for measuring or showing temperature, how hot or cold something is. A thermometer is a device that is used to measure the temperature of a body. Common types of thermometers are medical thermometers, mercury thermometers, bimetallic strip thermometers, pyrometers. clinical or medical thermometers is used to measure body temperature. Mostly thermometers made in the 20th century are mercury thermometers. They are sensitive and accurate, having a narrow place where the level of mercury rises very fast. A kink on the tube stops the mercury level from falling on its own. These kinds of thermometers are used in the clinics by the doctors. So, they are also called a doctor's thermometer. It is used to measure human body temperature in the range of 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. Medical thermometers are cleaned before and after each use with alcohol. The use of the mercury thermometer is due to health risks such as respiratory problems or skin damage, but there are also currently glass thermometers similar to the old mercury called analog thermometers, which do not have mercury in their composition and can be used safely. The normal body temperature is 98.4 degree Fahrenheit. Thermometer marked from 95 degree Fahrenheit to 109 degree Fahrenheit. They are used to measure a person's body temperature. The thermometer is put into mouth of the patient or under the armpit. The scale marked on the thermometer shows the degree of the patient's temperature. Now we have digital thermometer which is easy to read. Now see the stethoscope. The stethoscope is an instrument used by doctors to hear the sounds in the body. Doctors generally use it to hear the sounds in the heart and lungs of a patient. It helps them to know the condition of a patient's heart and lungs. The stethoscope was invented by René Laennec, who was a young French doctor. The usual method used by doctors was not so satisfactory. In order to listen to the sounds in the heart or lungs of a patient, a doctor would lay his ear against the patient's chest. It was an inconvenient method. Often it was difficult to hear anything at all. Once Dr. Laennec saw two children playing with a log of wood. One child tapped at one end of the log and the other listened by pressing his ear to the other end. This gave Laennec an idea. He applied the same principle at his hospital. He rolled a few sheets of paper into a cylinder. He placed one end of the cylinder on a patient's chest and held his ear to the other. Laennec found that he could hear the heartbeats more clearly than even ever before. The early stethoscopes were wooden cylinders about 12 inches long. They had a hollow channel through the center. After some years, the modern type of stethoscope was developed. It has rubber tubes leading from a cup-shaped vessel in two earpieces. The stethoscopes of today are far more sensitive than that paper tube of the past. See children, the stethoscope was invented by René Laennec, who was a young French doctor. The stethoscope is an instrument used for listening to sound produced by the body. It is used primarily to listen to the lungs, heart and intestinal tract. It is also used to listen to blood flow in peripheral vessels and the heart sounds of developing in pregnant women. A stethoscope is used to detect and study heart, lungs, stomach and other sounds in adults, humans and animals. Using a stethoscope, the listener can hear normal and abnormal respiratory, fetal, and intestinal sounds. Stethoscopes vary in their design and material. Most are made of Y-shaped rubber tubing. This shape allows sound to enter the device at one end, travel up the tubes and through to the earpieces. Many stethoscopes have a two-sided sound detecting device or head that listener can reverse depending on whether they need to hear high or low frequency. Some newer models have only one pressure sensitive head. The various type of instruments include binaural stethoscopes designed for use with one ear differential stethoscope, which allows listener to compare sounds at two different body sides, an electronic stethoscope which electronically amplifies tones. Some stethoscopes are designed specifically for hearing sounds in fetal heartbeats. Now, the microscope. The microscope is an instrument used for looking at very tiny objects. Some objects are so small that they can't be seen easily by the naked eye. A microscope can make these objects look bigger. Microscopes work by using lenses. The invention of the microscope has an interesting story behind it. We know that lenses are used in spectacles. They help to correct weak eyesight. There was a man in Holland who owned a spectacles shop. It is said that one day he was looking at two lenses placed in his shop. By chance, he saw a fly through these lenses. The fly looked so big that he couldn't believe it. It looked as big as a lamb. Now the man began to look at other things through the lenses. All of them looked so big. The man used his observation to make a toy called glass. It proved a very popular toy all over Europe. In those days, there was a famous scientist in Italy. His name was Galileo. He too came to know of the flea glasses. When he saw it, an idea struck him. He used two lenses and made what we now call a microscope. When he saw a fly under his microscope, he looked much bigger than a lamb. He also saw that it had not only hair but also nails. Gradually, more and more powerful microscopes were made. The microscope proved of great help to scientists. Now, they could see organisms which couldn't be seen with the naked eye. One scientist looked at a drop of water under a microscope. He saw hundreds of tiny organisms moving about in it. Soon scientists were able to identify germs or microbes that cause various diseases. Thus, the microscope helped scientists to find the causes of many diseases, and when they had found the cause, their cure also became easy. See children, the microscope was invented by a famous scientist Galileo. A microscope is a piece of scientific equipment that helps us to see things that are invisible to the naked eye because they are so small. Most microscopes use light, and lenses, which are curved pieces of glass or plastic to magnify object. This means making them appear bigger than they actually are. There are several different types of microscope used in light microscopy, and the four most popular types are compound, stereo, digital, and the pocket or handheld microscopes. Outside of light microscopy are the exciting developments with electron microscope and in scanning probe microscopy. Microscope help scientists to find the causes of many diseases, and when they had found the cause, their cure also became easy. See the other instruments. Similarly, many other medical instruments have been invented. They help doctors to identify various diseases to perform major surgical operations. X-ray machines can take pictures of the inside of the human body. They help doctors to find out what is wrong inside the patient's body. Operations can now be performed without making any cut on the patient's body. They are performed with the help of powerful rays. See, X-rays are highly penetrating ionizing radiation. Therefore, X-ray machines are used to take pictures of dense tissues such as bones and teeth. This is because bones absorb the radiation more than the less dense soft tissues. X-ray from a source pass through the body and on to a photographic cassette. X-rays are electromagnetic radiation that differentially penetrates structures within the body and creates image of these structures on photographic film. These images are called diagnostic X-rays. Diagnostic X-rays are useful in detecting abnormalities within the body. They are a painless, non-invasive way to help diagnose problems such as broken bones, tumors, dental decay, and the presence of foreign bodies. That's all for today. Thank you, students.